general generation which was in the desert. How is it possible? And they were in by Matan Torah, which means they visualized the giving of the Torah with the Shechina, godliness. And in them it was fulfilled that they can say, our eyes saw, not a stranger, our ears heard, and not someone else. The world was then still immediately after the revelation of the giving of Torah. The world was on an elevated, higher level. How did they err in such an inyan, and they were punished not to go into Eretz Yisrael? Which means that not only they were on a high level, but the world was also on a high, purified level. So how did this come? Right after Matan Torah. Which it seems like, was it a year later or the same year? Meraglim was sent Chavtes Sivan, and they came back Tisha B'Av. And when they came back Tisha B'Av, they cried, Vayivko kol ha'am b'laylahu. And when they cried, the Eibishter said that you cried in vain, I will give you a reason what to cry for. So that night was Tisha B'Av. So this is what the Atem b'chisem b'chia shel chinam, that they cried for nothing. So the Eibishter says, I will give you what to cry for on this night. And this was the night of the destruction of the first temple and second temple. Tisha B'Av. That even if we would say that the minority, their error is not such a big wonder, since Torah considers what the majority says, and we go according to the majority, and the majority is the one that tilts the scale, and it accomplishes for oneself and for the whole world merits. Meritful, and it accomplishes for him and for them a tshuva natzola, a rescue. So therefore we must say that it was an error from the majority, because otherwise Torah would not mention it. One of the greatest wonders. The greatest wonder, how is it that most of the Jewish nation erred in this matter and did not want to go into Eretz Yisrael? We're speaking already about the Deir HaMidbar in general, not just the Meraglim. But especially that the Anani Yaakov, the clouds in the generation in the Midbar, they destroyed all the snakes and scorpions and all the different dangerous insects, creatures in the desert. Bigashmias, in the physical sense, and surely beruchnis. So surely everything unwishful, every negative matter was destroyed. So how did they make such an error? Then the Rebbe continues. And even more we don't understand. It is known what is mentioned in Svarim, and there's a whole bunch of Svarim. In Order 17, the Ramban, Rabbi Nebachai, the Akedah Barbanel, and the Ramah and the Shelach, that when a person eats, he is what he eats. This is why the Mefarshim explain that we have our kosher diet, because the nature of the other creatures that are unkosher is not good character traits that we should be incorporating in ourselves. So therefore, we're forbidden to eat them. And v'huva b'chsidus, Amarim Yiddish and Kesar Shem Tev. In the reason why we are not permitted to eat animals that are beasts, that destroy other animals. Because the nature of one thing that's eaten, it goes into the person who eats it. which in today's world is called a person is what he eats. Moving from this, we understand the Mekiv and Shebe Yesam Bamidbar Ochel Anshe Deram Midbar Lachem and Hashamayim. Since the Yid in the Jewish nation, when they were in the desert, they ate bread from heaven. Mon, the manna, Shahu Betachlas Hazichoch, that's the most complete way, as it was refined, as it is refined, as the Talmud tells us, V'shosam Mayim Ebeireshal Miriam, and they drank water from the well of Miriam. How they move on Shachila, that the eating and drinking of these special matters, accomplished in them a refinement. So it should have accomplished, enhanced their whole spiritual status. The same thing is also when you get the garments. As it's mentioned in Chassidus, that unwishful, negative garments, which are garments that you have linen, and wool and linen. Wool and linen should not be mixed together. It's in Shabbos. This is a klipa kosher, this is a negative element. Yeser mapnimi. In other words, something that is over the person, not in the person, has a stronger negative, has a stronger impact on the person. From this we understand when it comes to something which is negative, has a stronger negative impact on the person.
If it's over him, not in him?
Although it's over him and not in him, because it hovers over him, so it has a stronger, because it's a makif. So makif, in a sense, something from outside has a stronger impact on the person. The same thing we understand also b'negiat a house. The same way that bgodim, clothing, is considered something that is over the person, but it's made according to the size of the person. So the same thing is also a house, which is not custom made for the person himself, but many people can go in, is also considered something that is mashpia, that has an impact on the person. Which is al derech. Okay, the Rebbe doesn't bring the example what he's speaking about by bgodim, by garments. He says it's like shatnez, something negative the person should not wear. By the house, he doesn't say what it is. Pashtus abayis, menuga, tzoras, inyanim that are inyanim of klipa. The mezem moving b'negel tzadahofchi. From this we understand shek shab godim makif hakariv abayis makif barachikim inyani kedusha. That when the garments which are closer to the person, makev hakariv, the house is a makev harachik, which is removed beyond the person, and that's why many people can go in it, because it does not relate to one person more than to the other. Like a garment that not everybody can fit into someone else's clothing. It's more closely related. So if it is meinyani kedusha, if it is from matters of sacred matters, hariza mashpia ilu yalam belubish belevush zevador babayis. It accomplishes, it makes an impact, it adds a unique quality to the person that is dressed in this garment and that lives in this house. This is al derech, like we mentioned, b'negia to what the Rebbe Marash said, and the Rebbe Rasha brings it in the Maimer in Megillah Nekras, Tofresh Ayin 1915. Far alavush von a Menschen, I'll say it first in Yiddish. Far alavush von a Menschen kemen ufheben a Menschen gorheich, und far alavush von a Menschen kemen arop nieder a Menschen gor niederig. For the garment of a person, you can raise a person, lift up a person very high, and you can also schlep him down very low. Because it depends where the garment of the person is called mechabdusa. It is mechaba the person. It distinguishes the person, it enhances the person. A person, a big veer, can once walk into a place, but he's there with mud, or he walks in like a schlepper with torn clothing, they won't look at him as a veer. The levush, the garment, is only secondary to the person. Like the Rebbe says in Tanya, in the end of Perek Memalav Dachtach, that it's what's a chilek, a king, which is many garments on one garment. It's the king. But the Metzias is, when physical eyes look at it, they think the guy's a schlepper. On the other hand, you'll have a schlepper, a schnorrer, that's going to come in professional. He's going to come in professional, and you'll think that he's a gvir.
What's a gvir?
A rich person.
Rich.
I was in Chicago.